and welcome to this workshop on how to develop your unique style. My name is Elli Milan, and I have been a professional artist for the last 30 years. I'm also the founder of Milan Art Institute, and I've helped over 6,000 artists over the last few years find their voice and develop their own unique style. So I promise you, by the end of this workshop, you will learn the 5 foundational steps to help you get your art to stand out, that will also tell your story and help collectors be able to connect with you and really be able to produce that art that is going to grip somebody's heart. So we have a really cool freebie for you. So this is absolutely free. You will find the link to this in the description. But it is a workbook that will give you all kinds of prompts and all kinds of things that you can fill out and read through that will help you and guide you to find your style. I think you are going to find that really, really useful, and you will be blown away that it was actually free. It is one of those free things that shouldn't be free. So I'm super excited to be able to give you that. Now, what we are going to cover in this workshop, what the plan is for this workshop is, first of all, we're going to talk about why you should even find your style. Like, what's the point of that? Why can't you just paint whatever you want, whenever you want, however you want, and art is art, and what's the point of even trying to find your style? We're also going to talk about types of self-discovery, what you can learn about yourself, which a lot of that is included in that workbook, and how to identify your own personal aesthetic. Also, how to elevate your taste. That might sound a little bit like, huh? But it is a really important aspect to developing your unique style, so we're going to go through that. Also, how to discover your process. Your process for painting is really, really key and really important for you to develop your style. Now, we have a live chat on this workshop, and Tanner Polsey is my friend here who is going to sort of navigate that chat. So say hello to everybody, Tanner.
Hello, everybody. I'm super happy to be here. Be sure to put any questions you have in the chat. We'll try to get to it towards the end. And we're actually going to start this off with a little poll to ask the audience about what's currently holding you back in finding your style. So I'm going to launch that poll now. And feel free to vote in it. And I'm excited to get into this.
Yeah, so, and we'll reveal at the end here what the poll, the results of the poll, and what your next moves can be to get over what is holding you back. And so definitely want to stick around to the end so that this can be, all the information you're going to learn can be personal and something you can walk away with actual action steps that is going to elevate your artwork and get you closer to being able to find your style and develop it. So, okay, so let's get started. Why do you even want to bother finding your style? What is the point? So number one, it will give you a fan base. And if you have a fan base, you'll have people that want to buy your artwork. You'll develop faithful, devoted collectors that really connect with your work and absolutely enjoy it. And they'll not just buy 1 piece or 2 pieces, but they will collect your work, many pieces, over time. So why does finding your style attract collectors? Number one, if you have a cohesive body of work, you have a style, and you can recognize, oh, that's that artist that paints like blah, blah, blah. And it's recognizable to people, they will have something to really connect with. It's not just a bunch of random pieces, and sometimes it's, you know, this theme and this style, and then it's this theme and this style, and they can't even connect that you are the artist that did it. Also, it's basically personal branding. Your art becomes synonymous with what it is you have to say, the themes that you like to paint in, your personal symbols, your story, and when all of that is out there in a consistent way that is predictable, then people trust you as an artist. It feels really genuine and authentic. It's something that they can kind of rally behind. It begins to feel like a cause, and it is just a way more easier way and more successful way to collect collectors. So that is, if you want to sell your artwork, if you want to have faithful art collectors, then you definitely want to be able to find your style. Another thing is you sort of bypass that veneer of the sort of simple beginning points of all the styles, and you get to the very deep part of your style. So when you are sort of trying this thing, one day you're kind of painting impressionistically, and maybe you're doing landscapes and florals, and then you start doing portraits, and they're more graphic and whimsical, and then the next time you paint, you're doing mixed media collage or something, and it's kind of all over the place. You're just hitting the surface of each of those processes and each of those themes, and you're not able to spend time, meaning years and years, going deeply into that subject and into that process where you find that treasure of that universal, personal, authentic, genuine voice that people will connect with. When we sort of are surfacey and it's just kind of like, I don't know, just a nice looking picture that isn't very unique, and we've sort of seen it a dozen times out there, people don't really deeply connect with it. And so it's less rewarding for both you and the viewer. So it helps you, finding your style, be able to go deeply in sort of one subject or one theme rather than kind of the surface of many. Also, it will help you stop emulating. Emulation is completely normal. I went through phases of my career emulating other artists. Emulation is, I think, a necessary part of the creative process. There's nothing to be ashamed about emulation. If people say, oh, I love your new painting, that reminds me of this artist I saw, blah, 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 you might be emulating, and that's okay, and there's nothing really wrong with that. But eventually, as you mature as an artist, as your journey deepens, emulation will begin to be a thing of the past because you'll be in your style, your themes, you'll develop a whole vocabulary that is just your words, and you're not borrowing words from other people. So that is, I think, a really important thing for artists to think about, is how do we get to that place where we no longer emulate and we're just deeply in our own style, and guess what? Other artists will emulate you. So that is another reason why you want to find your style. Also, you will stop struggling with productivity. So one of the main reasons why artists get stuck, they have creative blocks, they're not able to really, they're kind of uninspired, they don't feel like painting, they struggle getting behind the paintbrush and getting time in the studio, is because they're not in that sort of creative flow. I call it a creative river. This flow where they're just flowing along that river, and one idea leads to the next idea, to the next idea. And pretty soon you have so many ideas, you barely have time to actually flesh out those ideas. So you no longer get stuck, you no longer lack the motivation to paint. So that is a very, very great place to be. So what is the sweet spot for you? So I just think that it is absolutely possible. I've seen it in hundreds, maybe even thousands of artists that I have known over the years, that they get to this sweet spot. That is, I think, what every artist is really striving for. And that's where you have plenty of skill. You have a very diverse skill set. You know how to draw, you know how to see values, you know how to mix color. You don't even have to think about mixing color. You know exactly what brushes to use, how to use them, what brush gives you what brush stroke, what processes in layering your paint, how to resolve paintings. Nothing is a big mystery anymore. You just go and enjoy the whole creative process without any stress, without any self-doubt, without any crashes, without any negative self-talk. You're just creating in bliss and freedom. That comes when you know your voice and you have lots of skill. So acquiring skill is really crucial. And another piece is being in the flow and never getting stuck and having endless ideas. So that happens through having plenty of skill, knowing your voice, and going very deeply in your subject. So we already kind of talked about that, but when you are there and you're in that flow, a lot of artists think, oh, you know, you're in the flow for a while, but then you'll have a creative block and it'll all stop. And I have found in my career of painting for 30 years that doesn't really happen. I cannot really remember the last time I have been completely stuck. So I think the last time I was stuck was maybe 8 years ago. So I've had 8 years of just flow and just one idea after the next. I haven't lacked inspiration. I haven't lacked motivation to paint. And it doesn't mean that I'm not going to hit, you know, a block again or get stuck again, but it's so infrequent that and you know how to get out of it. So, so I think that is, you know, a great place to be, where you don't have that fear of getting stuck anymore. So also there will be a sweet spot for an artist, or I think what we're all, you know, looking for is that demand on your work, where there's this pull, where there's enough people that love your work, they're wanting it and they're contacting you, and you're not sitting there with a pile of paintings in your studio going, oh, how am I ever going to sell these? Who's going to ever want this work? I don't know what I need to do to get this work sold. You have a fan base, you have collectors that are connecting with your work because you found your voice, you found your style, and they're pulling on you. And the second you have something done and you announce that your next painting is finished, you already have several people that want to buy it. That is the sweet spot that I think all artists are really looking for, and it is extremely possible. It is absolutely possible. And this is a very important point that I really want you to know. And I'm saying this from experience, and I'm saying this because I've lived it. It doesn't require talent. It doesn't require magic. It doesn't require to be discovered by somebody. There's no luck involved in this. You are 100% in control of getting to that sweet spot. And I think that's empowering. I think that is amazing that you get to decide. Nobody else gets to decide. You get to decide. You can take the steps. You can put the action there that will get you to that sweet spot where you have plenty of skill, you are in a flow and not getting stuck, and there is demand on your work. And you are living the life of an artist in complete creative bliss and freedom. So that is why I even do what I do. That is why I opened Milan Art Institute. That is why I'm standing here today in front of this camera on YouTube speaking with you, because I want with all my heart for you to get to that sweet spot, unless you're already there. But if you're not, then this workshop is for you. Okay, so what are the steps to get there? What are the steps to get to the sweet spot? Remember, I said you are 100% in control of getting there. So here are the steps. If you do these steps, you will get there. Build skill. You might have skill already, but do you have enough skill? Are you really in that place that you can mix colors without thinking? You're painting accurately. The vision you have in your heart, in your mind, is actually coming to fruition on the canvas. There's really nothing you can't paint, whether it is see-through material or shiny glass or a waterfall, or you're not limited in your themes because you don't know how to paint it. Do you have enough skill? If you don't, and there's some missing spots in your skill, maybe you don't draw well enough, maybe you don't know how to use oil, maybe you know you're an acrylic painter, but you've never really tried any other mediums, then build your skill. Get lots of skill, plenty of skill. And this doesn't take a lifetime. I know artists that in 1 year built their skill. So I know lots of artists that in 1 year built their skill to the point where they have plenty of skill. So build skill. Next step, find a process for both your source material and your painting process. You need a process for both of that. How do you get inspired? How do you gather what inspires you and find source material to create from? Whether that's an idea board or you're working with different types of computer programs, maybe you're using Procreate, maybe you are, how do you find those photographs? Are you taking your own photographs? Are you painting out of your head? Do you work with sketches? All of that is a part of your source making process. Then there's, your actual execution of your painting. What materials are you working with? What order do you put it all in? How do you actually render your forms? What is your process? And does it fit with your temperament? Is it work with what your personality is like? So finding your process is a key to your step of getting to that sweet spot. Okay, developing a style. So having a consistent style that your name is synonymous with. So I have developed a style. I've developed actually a few styles over the years, and it's evolved over time. If you look at the 30 years I've been an artist, my style started out this way, then it evolved into this style, then it evolved into that style, and then it evolved into the style I have today. But if you look at the whole chain of events, you can see consistency. You can see that it was all, from the same artist. So having a consistent, cohesive body of work is a key step to getting to that sweet spot. Knowing what it is you want to say. So this is going to go into the next part where we talk about self-discovery. What is it that you really care about? What are you passionate about? What do you want to say? So that is really important. Then show your work to everyone all the time. You got to show your work. You have to get it out there. You have to put it out there for other people to see in order to endear people to you so that they become collectors and put demand on your work and want to buy your work. So it doesn't, we teach in our school all kinds of marketing, all kinds of brand building, all sorts of strategies on how to get your artwork out there, different methods of getting a channel of distribution, all kinds of different people that you can work with, whether it's publishers or it's, licensing agents, galleries, designers, consultants, et cetera. But all of that is really easy. It's super easy if you have the product, if you have the artwork that is in your style, that is unique, that has a lot of skill to it, and you are connecting with the collectors and people want it. So the how to get it out there, how to get it seen by lots of people is a piece of cake. You just have to be willing to do it. Okay, so finding your style is a journey of self-discovery. There's all kinds of ways to know ourselves. We can know ourselves psychologically, emotionally, spiritually. We all have memories and experiences. We all have a childhood that either was, pretty good, great, terrible, traumatic. We all have a childhood. We all have memories. We all have various experiences that we have gone through and that we've lived through. Some are good, some are bad. And this all shapes who we are, how we see the world, and what it is we have to say. We have, as a result of those experiences, those memories, our childhood, we have emotional patterns. We have psychological patterns, the way that we think about things, how we see things. And each one of us is unique in that way because we have a story. We have different experiences. My experiences are different than your experiences, and your experiences are different than Tanner's experiences. We all have a different experience and therefore a different story. That's why your artwork, my artwork, Tanner's artwork is unique. It's unique to us because our story is unique. We all have ethnicity to us. We have culture that we grew up in. That can be sort of a microculture, whether you grew up in a small town or you grew up by the ocean or you grew up in the mountains, that is going to influence your art. That's going to influence what you have to say and why you're saying it. Depends on what country you grew up in. I grew up with I'm an American, but I grew up with a Greek father. And so I'm very attuned to Greek culture and Greek sort of psychology and emotional patterns because I grew up in that culture. But I didn't grow up in Greece with two Greek parents, so it's a little different than when I go visit Greece and I see Greek people that grew up like that. It's a little bit different. So that is what is unique to my experience. And you have an ethnicity and a culture as well. We all have pain. We all have had opportunities to overcome our pain. We either chose to do that or maybe we weren't ready at the time. So that is a big part of our voice, our story, and our themes that we're going to paint in. We all have families, relationships, maybe siblings, lovers, partners. We have these types of relationships and families that also influence what we have to say and why we're saying it. We have core beliefs, things that we feel really strongly about that are important to us, and a cause, if you will, that we align with. And that all will influence also what you have to say and why you're saying it. We all have an edge. You have an edge. There is something very unique about you, and you have some kind of unfair advantage. Everybody has one. And it's up to you to go through a process of self-discovery where you can understand what your unfair advantage is. Okay, about your edge and finding your edge. A great way to think about that are these prompts. And so think about what makes you different than others. So I just talked about, I grew up with a Greek dad and an American mom in the United States here. But that's really different than how other kids grew up that had 2 American parents, and it's really different than how most Greeks grew up with 2 Greek parents. So there's something a little bit different about me, and I've always felt like being Greek, having visited Greece, and having exposure to that culture and traveling and seeing that part of the world and having a unique point of view has given me an edge. So what makes you different than other people? There's something different about you. Where have you always stood out? So I have always stood out in the fact that I tell very long stories, like so long. Like my stories just go on and on and on. That can be either a good thing or a bad thing. So that is a way that I have stood out. Anybody that knows me and says, you know, what do you think about Elli, or what do you know about Elli? Oh man, she tells a lot of stories. So how do you stand out? What is a way that, you know, if somebody were to talk about you, what are the first things they're going to say that differentiates you from everybody else? What were you known for in school? What were you known for? You know, I wasn't known in school as an artist. I don't even know that I was known as a creative person. I was known as somebody that told stories. That's how I was known. I was known as somebody that was funny, that told funny stories, that got really into it and enthusiastic about my stories. I acted out my stories. And sometimes the other kids would make fun of me because I got so into it. And sometimes, you know, they enjoyed it. So what have you been known for in school? Do you speak other languages? Do you play a musical instrument? You know, what are some standout things about you? How are you unusual? Maybe there's something about the way that you look that is unusual, and that has given you an edge. A lot of times, you know, maybe it's the way that you dress. Maybe you dress really crazy and really creative, and you've always done that. You've expressed yourself in your clothes or your hair, your earrings, or something like that, and so you stand out, and it makes you look unusual. So what are your unfair advantages? Maybe you traveled a lot as a child. Maybe you, you know, ate at a lot of different restaurants and experienced all kinds of different cuisine. Think about, even make a list of all the ways that you are different. What is distinct about you? And that is a way to find your edge. It's going to be the culmination or the combination of all those things. So my Greek culture, the fact that I really get into my stories, the fact that I'm very passionate about storytelling, that I've traveled a bunch, that is, I think, a part of my unique edge. Because in that storytelling, I have developed a way to inspire other people. And so that, I think, is my unique edge. So you have one too, everybody has one. Okay, so let's talk about aesthetic. All these things I talked about, everything in this sort of package of self-discovery and learning more about yourself and why you do what you do and what it is you have to say, there is a picture of that, and it's like a thumbprint. We all have our own unique aesthetic. And that aesthetic is basically what we find beautiful. How do we define beauty? When we see something and I go, oh my gosh, that's so beautiful. I love that. But then the person next to me is like, what? What are you looking at? They don't see it. We all are unique in that way. And what I find beautiful and what you find beautiful is because we see through a prism. And what our prism is all that stuff I just talked about. It's your edge, it's your ethnicity, it's your culture, it's your experiences, it's your psychology, it's your emotions. It's all those things. And what that does, it's like inside of you is pictures, all kinds of visuals, all kinds of pictures that is your own personal aesthetic. It's already there. You already have it. It's not something you have to, create. It's already there, but you get to discover it. By looking at lots of things and paying attention to what you find beautiful and seeing the pattern of that, that's how you identify your aesthetic. So I'm going to show you some examples of that. So this little equation here, aesthetic plus taste plus process, is your style. That is the ingredients to your style. So when you are seeking an artistic style to be known for, so that you have collectors, so that you can get to the sweet spot, it will be made up of these three parts. Your aesthetic, which I just went through, is the culmination of all those self-discovery things, plus taste, we're going to get to that, plus your process. How do you execute a painting? So those three things, this is a very good equation to pay attention to. Those three things equal your style. Okay, so back to aesthetic. Aesthetic is pictures made up of, or visuals, it's something we see. Forms, color, rhythm, lines, texture, light, contrast, composition, pattern. All those things create our aesthetic. Some of us like certain types of forms, certain types of colors, a rhythm to things. Some people like things very minimal and simplistic. Other people like things very busy. So how we see beauty is going to fall into these sort of categories or visual elements. So this would be an example of my personal aesthetic. I've already kind of told you a little bit about my background. So the fact that I grew up Greek, I have Greek heritage in me, I have Greek blood. I've spent a lot of time in Greece. I had a Greek father. I don't speak it super well, but I do speak Greek. Greeks and Greek thinking and Greek culture is very, very organized and very almost linear. So as you can see here, there's a lot of straight lines and there's sort of this random order to things. But there's also this organic, windy path. And I'm somebody that likes to sort of fly by the seat of my pants. I don't like to be locked down, but I do like structure and order, and I'm very disciplined. So I love blue and red together. Blue and red, I don't know. I must have had a crush on Superman or something, because I love blue and red together, or this turquoise and burnt orange together. That color combination just really inspires me. And if you look at Greek culture, there's a lot of blue and red together. It's this sort of Aegean kind of color palette that you see very often there. And this color palette, the way the forms are, the light, the glow, all those things are a part of my personal aesthetic. So when you see my artwork and how that transcribes those visuals, that thumbprint that's inside of me of what I find beautiful, it automatically comes out in my artwork. You'll see the same colors, you'll see, the structure, but you'll also see this sort of windy randomness, and it's going to be the same for you. You will have a collection of images and forms and rhythm and textures and color, line, all those things that you really find beautiful, and they will show up in your artwork as well. Here's another example. So Dimitra is my daughter. She also is a co-owner of Milan Art Institute, and she is a fabulous artist. If you don't know her already, she's really well known, and she got her start in art at age 15, And in her first year, she sold over $1 million worth of her art. So she's really successful and an amazing teacher. She teaches at our school, and that's if you didn't know her. And this is her personal aesthetic. So if you look at the colors, very different than mine, but this is stuff that she finds beautiful. I find this pretty. Like, I look at it and go, oh yeah, it's nice, that's pretty, but I'm not like, oh, that's so beautiful. It's not something I feel here. It's something here I go, yeah, that's pretty, that's nice looking. But when I see this, I'm like, oh, yes, that, it resonates. So this is what resonates with Dimitra. This is what she finds beautiful, and it's really inspiring to her. And so when you look at her artwork, you can absolutely see that aesthetic translate right into her artwork. So that is sort of an idea of how aesthetic is a piece of your style. Okay, now moving on to taste. That was the next part of that equation. We had aesthetic plus taste plus process equals style. So taste evolves over time. Your aesthetic, you're gonna see traces. It will evolve, but it's pretty much a with you. I'm not gonna suddenly flip to pastels and simplicity and minimalism. That is never going to be a part of my aesthetic. My aesthetic may evolve and it may shift and deepen, but it's not going to really change. It's there permanently, and so is yours. But taste does change. And so taste is something that as we get more educated in our taste and we evolve in our taste, it will change over time. And we can always educate and elevate our taste. Something I tell artists, and it really irritates them, they don't like to hear it, is you have bad taste. I have bad taste. We have bad taste. If you can admit that, if you can say that to yourself, I have bad taste, I need to educate my taste, then your taste will evolve. If your taste evolves, a lot of times I see artists that paint really great. They got the skills. They have plenty of skill. And they have a style and they have a voice, and they sell their artwork. But they would sell a lot more of their artwork, or they would sell their artwork at a higher price if they elevated their taste. Because people, and this is where it irritates people, people with more money that have traveled more, that have eaten at higher elevated places, that have bought furniture or clothing that was designed by designers, typically have a higher level of taste, and they want to buy artwork that's at that taste level. So that definitely rubs artists the wrong way, because they don't want to change their taste. They like what they like, and they don't want to elevate that. But if you just, to me, it's sort of an issue of being teachable and willing to grow. It's somebody who's growth oriented. If you can just admit, maybe I need to elevate my taste, or how can I elevate my taste? What would that look like? And you were open to it, then you would find that once you've elevated your taste, you'll love what you love even more. Even more. It's not like there's anything wrong with your taste level, but if it came up higher, if it was expanded, if it was elevated a little bit, then more would be open to you. You would have more opportunity. You would like your artwork even more, and so would other people. So I'm always trying to educate my palette, or educate myself on color or color combinations, or patterns that I see, or forms, and looking at what is out there in high design, looking at what other designers are doing in other forms, whether it's furniture or it's fashion or it's architecture, traveling. And the great thing about the internet is you can travel on the internet. You can see these things without having to go physically into a store or a museum if you don't have that around you. So being able to sort of feast your eyes on things that are out there that are beyond your usual, you're going to elevate your taste naturally. We all do. So elevating your taste is all about exposure. So just to kind of, get into it a little bit, you may like, so there's sort of a a picture here on the left and a picture on the right. And they're both kind of this eclectic, colorful style, lots of mixture of patterns. But one is a little bit like lower taste, meaning less cohesive. There's not an intentionality to the scale or thinking of it as a whole. It's sort of a hodgepodge of a lot of colorful things and pattern things kind of thrown in there. There's a lot of cheap objects. There's a lot of kitschy things in there. And somebody who is buying original artwork probably doesn't decorate their house like this. This looks more like an artist house, but not somebody, who's the collector of art. Whereas the one on the right is a little bit more elevated in taste. There's a definite intention behind it in terms of the forms, the cohesiveness, how one thing relates to another, while still maintaining that fun, eclectic style. If you look at this bouquet of flowers, sometimes things in lower taste are typical. They're not that unique. They're sort of, ho-hum, yeah, I saw that at the local florist, but nothing special. Whereas something that was really had a lot more intention to it, there's rarity to it, it's more unique. This person who designed this floral bouquet didn't just throw a bunch of pink flowers into a vase. They really thought about scale, the elements of art, the patterns, the color cohesiveness. They thought about all of that, so it's a higher quality. This is a higher quality. There's more time, effort, and rarity that went into this expression of a bouquet than the one on the right. And that is a big part of elevating your taste, is thinking about those things, being intentional. So, okay. The last part of that equation is process. After taste, we have process. So that is your materials, the order you use them, how you create sources, source material that to inspire what it is you create, your process for finding inspiration, developing inspiration, how you lay down paint. We all have very different temperaments, and it's sort of on a gradient. So I'm very quick and impulsive, and I lay down paint aggressively. My daughter Dimitra is very soft and very delicate, and when she enters a room, you don't notice right away. When I enter a room, you know right away I came into the room. So we're very different in our temperament, and she lays down paint very elegantly and gracefully and softly, and it's beautiful. And so we're very different. So how you lay down paint is a part of your process. Where do you struggle in the creative process? So we're all different. Some people struggle with the beginning of the painting. Just committing to an idea is hard for them. Some people struggle in the middle of the painting, let's say the ugly stage. That's where I struggle. And then some people struggle finishing paintings. They don't know when it's done. So that's all a part of your process, and developing habits and ways to overcome these things so that the whole thing just flows. So all of these things, plus more, are a big part of your process, your creative process. Okay, so what about your themes? That's what you're painting. So there's a lot of things that influence the themes that you paint in. So that's the subject matter. Even if it's abstracts, are your abstracts really organic, and or are they more geometrical? Are the colors very soft and analogous to each other with low contrast, or are they very punchy and more flashy, right? So your themes and how you, what subject matter you want to paint in is going to be influenced by a lot of these things on this list. So what are archetypes? We go really deep into this in our programs, in our mastery program, where we talk all about different kinds of archetypes. But basically, an archetype is a pattern of behavior. So you have a pattern of behavior, I have a pattern of behavior, so we have archetypes. Understanding our pattern of behavior, and there's this, I guess, psychologist or philosopher, Carl Jung, that talked about 12 main archetypes, and they're very interesting to learn. And basically the theory is that we all can exhibit these 12 archetypes, but some more than others. So we have our dominant archetypes and our less dominant archetypes, but it's all basically a pattern of behavior. So for example, if I'm painting a horse and I am, let's say I have a hero type archetype or a magician type archetype or an archetype that's very rebellious, then maybe my horse is bucking or rearing or running or in action or leaping or jumping. But my husband's archetype is jester and caregiver and innocent. So his horses are eating grass, they're laying down, they're chilling out, they're not jumping and bucking and running and rearing and leaping. So that is an example of your themes. I don't paint horses that are doing all kinds of things all over the board. Most of my horses are in action. So because it fits my archetypes, my patterns of behavior. My husband's patterns of behavior are a lot more chilled, laid back, slow. So the subjects that he paints are gonna mirror that. So that's just an example of what I'm talking about. Also, our memories, our experiences, our cultural background, our overcoming pain, your spirituality, all these things influence our themes, your relationships with the natural world, our stories, our parables that are in us. We all have stories. We all have things that are meaningful to us. We all see metaphor and symbolism and connection and how we connect the dots, the serendipities that we notice. They're all different in each of us. And those things that you notice, those parables show up in our artwork. It influences our choices on the themes that we paint, on the subjects that we paint. Some landscape, let's say you're painting a seascape of a harbor scene. Is your boat coming or going? You know, those are subconscious things, but they mean something. If your boat is leaving, it means something. If your boat is returning, it means something. So we become attracted to those themes based on our story, based on our history, based on our archetypes, our memories, our experiences. Tapping into those, being able to interpret them, being able to understand why we do what we do is so key to knowing your voice and understanding, developing your style. Sometimes our family birth order influences the themes. Geography, do we live by the ocean, the lands, the mountains, city, weather, all these things influence our themes. It's not random. You didn't just find a photo and go, that looks like a cool tree, I think I'll paint it. There's a reason behind all of it. There's a reason you were attracted to that tree. Okay, personal symbols. So we all have a whole array, a whole vocabulary of personal symbols, and you sort of collect them over time. And sometimes over maybe a span of 10 years, some symbols sort of fall away and you adopt new ones. So we all sort of operate and collect our own personal symbolism. And they usually pertain to our cause in life. And there's a root to these symbols. And I've always said that if you can identify your deepest pain in life, and therefore how you overcame that pain or how you are overcoming that pain, it really points to your superpower. It really points to how you are effective in life, and all your symbols really sort of surround that. It's your cause. Your superpower is your cause. What you've overcome in terms of your deepest pain is your cause. And so if you were to give a TED Talk, if you had the opportunity to give a TED Talk, or maybe you're watching this and you've already done a TED Talk, and you got to speak to the world for 20 minutes, what would it be about? What would your TED Talk be about? What is your cause? So that I think is an important piece to this, to really understand what that is. This isn't just something you do in one afternoon. That workbook, that free workbook, that's not just something that, you know, in a couple hours you fill it all out and you're like, oh, okay, I understand everything about myself now. This is a journey. This is a process. People that go through our mastery program, we spend months on these things, months on them, and really go deep and really search and find the answers to these things so that we can really blossom in our art with a full-fledged voice, a fully developed style. So this is not sort of something you can quickly get at. This does take time, focus, and intention. So what is required from you to get to that sweet spot, to really find your voice, to have plenty of skill, to get to that place where you're no longer stumped, you're no longer stuck, you don't have a pile of paintings you don't know what to do with, to create demand on your paintings where people want them before you're even finished, before the paint's even dry. How do you get to that sweet spot, or what is required? We talked about how. What is required from you to get to that sweet spot? I think it requires commitment, dedication, and focus. What we're talking about is big. It's your dream. It's why you're alive. It's what you live for, okay? This is your purpose. So that's not something that you just sort of play at a couple hours a week. That is not just a, something frivolous. This is really deep stuff, okay? I don't know when you signed up for this workshop and you chose to watch it, if you realized that, if you knew that going into it. But this is really deep stuff. This is really powerful. This is life-changing. And so it requires commitment. It requires dedication. It requires 100% focus. It requires you to go, wow, this is it. This is my chance. This isn't an accident that I'm watching this workshop today. This is the day my life changes. This is the day I make the decision to commit to my dream, to commit to what my soul has been yearning for, to become a professional artist, to be a free, creative person that gets to paint every single day and actually say something that touches people, that grips their heart, that changes the world, okay? And it requires commitment. It requires dedication. You have to spend time on it. And you have to, if it gets tough, that's when commitment comes in. No, I committed to this. I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep going in this, right? You dedicate time. You preconceive. Every week, I'm going to commit so many hours to developing myself as an artist. And I'm going to promise myself that I will stick to it. That is dedication. Focus. I'm going to make a list of all the things I'm doing right now that I don't need to do. I don't need to watch TV. I don't need to play video games. I don't need to scroll on the internet for hours. I'm going to get rid of all that. And I'm going to focus. I'm going to turn that time that I'm wasting into time I can spend achieving my dream. That is focus. What else is required from you? Time. Time behind the paintbrush. So if you're committed, dedicated, and focused, you will commit the time. Another thing that's that is required from you is the willingness, the will within you to accept challenges. These things aren't easy. If it was so easy, everybody in the world would be a famous artist. These are not easy. It requires you to accept the challenge. So it's a willful thing. It's something in your will. You just make a decision. I am the kind of person that when I see a challenge, I will stick with it. I'm not going to let it make me quit. I'm not going to give up. I realize challenges come with this, and when one comes, I'm going to face it head on, and I'm going to go through it, and I'm going to plow through it, and I'm going to get over it, and I'm going to learn. I'm a growth-oriented person. So accepting that this will have challenges and having the will to keep persevering, that is something you are 100% in control of. Now this is the hard one. This is the hardest one of all of these. Believe in yourself. Believing in yourself is very difficult. The reason it's difficult is because the whole world shouts at us that we can't have our dream, that artists starve, that there's no way you can do it. Well, if you were going to do it, you would have done it by now. You're too old. You're too young. You're this. You're that. You live here. You don't have what it takes. The whole world tells us that. Why? Why? Why does the whole world want to discourage you from being a professional artist or from pursuing your dream? It's because it's exactly what you're supposed to do. What we are purposed to do, what our destiny is what we have the most resistance about. Our resistance, the best book you could ever read is The War of Art. I got that right, The War of Art by Steven Pressfield, because he talks all about this concept. It's almost like you know that art is your destiny and it's what you're supposed to do with your life because there's so much resistance, because so many people have told you not to do it. That's how you know it's what you're supposed to do. And I think when you, at least for me, when I connected those dots and I realized I have purpose, my life counts, I am significant, and I'm put here on this earth for a reason, and that reason is to be an artist. That reason is to create. That reason is something bigger than myself. That gave me belief. That is what gave me belief. There's something beyond just me. It's not about how talented I am. It's not about if I'm good or I'm bad. It's not about, was I born in the right place, or do I have it easy, or, am I skilled? It's just about, do I really want this? And is it my destiny? And is it my purpose? And if it is, then I can acquire everything I need. I can get the skills, I can make the time, and I can pursue this. So whatever belief you have right now, expound upon it, feed it, and shut out all the voices that tell you you can't, even your own voice, that voice inside of you that tells you you can't do it. And surround yourself with other dreamers. Surround yourself with other artists in a community that are going for it. And if you don't have a community like that, then join our community. So we have an app, Milan Art. You can join it, and you can be around artists that are going for it. So find a community of people that are growth-oriented, that believe in you, and try to limit your time with the people who don't. So you have to believe in yourself and feed that belief. Okay, so if you are serious about these things, if what I'm saying is putting a little fire in your belly, if this is resonating with you, if this is like, yeah, wow, this is really what I've been looking for, this is my chance, this is my moment, all these things I've been thinking about and I've been wanting, and she's talking about it. If that is you right now, then you need to take those steps to developing your style. And you have to be thinking about, like, is it skill? Is that what you need? Do you need to develop more skill? Do you need to build on the skills that you have? Do you really need to go on that journey of self-discovery and figure out what it is you have to say and why you want to say it? Do you need to delve in and discover what your personal aesthetic is? Find new processes. Your process of painting could be limited by the exposure you've had to processes. If all you know how to do is acrylic painting or watercolor, you need to expand your repertoire. You need to be exposed to more processes, and so that you can find a process that you really enjoy and love. So if you're serious about developing your unique style and pursuing your dream as an artist, then I highly recommend the Mastery Program to you. The Mastery Program is a one-year program that helps you develop all the skills that you need, find and discover your voice, develop your style, and produce a portfolio of artwork that you know how to put out there and show everyone all the time, and the ways to do that. That is the Mastery Program, all those things I said. So who is it for? Who is the Mastery Program for? It is for people that are looking for a consistent program that from start to finish, because let's face it, YouTube's great. There's lots of information on YouTube. There's a lot of art classes on YouTube. I've learned a lot of things from YouTube. You've probably learned a lot of things from YouTube. YouTube is great, but there's no program. There's nothing curated. There's no curriculum. There's nothing that says, start here, and by the time you get here at the end, you will have achieved this. And that is what the Mastery Program is. Besides everything that you learn and all the lessons, and whether it's how to draw, how to paint, all the lessons that you learn are really at a high level, and they're very thorough, and it's linear. You learn this step to learn this step to learn this step to learn this step, and it works sequentially. It's not just a random library of a bunch of videos. It's an actual curriculum that was designed specifically to help artists turn what they're most passionate about in life into an actual profession, selling and earning money as artists. So the Mastery Program is super great. It will help you build skills in drawing, oil painting, mixed media, all kinds of mixed media, to find your voice, find your process, and then how to create that portfolio of a cohesive body of work, and then how to build a proper marketing plan for yourself that works for your lifestyle, works for your goals and what you want to achieve, and then how to execute that plan so that you are successful selling your artwork. So all of that combined is the Mastery Program. It's a one-year program that is online that you do on your time frame, on your schedule, and we have coaching that goes along with it. So you are in there with coaches that can help you, give you feedback, critique your artwork. You're with other artists. That's how you can be a part of that community that believes in you and is rallying for your success. After the Mastery Program, we have this incredible group called SOPA, Society of Professional Artists. So once you've graduated from the Mastery Program, you can become a SOPA member, which gives you all kinds of opportunities. So opportunities to get into galleries, opportunities to sell your artwork, to show your artwork, continued learning and marketing, how to do all kinds of different things, masterminds. It's an incredible community. So our art school is not just one program, you sign up and you never see anybody again. This is a place to be a part of, a community to be a part of, and that will be with you throughout your whole career. So it's a really fantastic thing. And how do you know, though, if you're ready? How do you know if you're ready for the Mastery Program? Well, first of all, you could be at any skill level because we teach you all the skills. So you could be a brand new beginner, or you could be intermediate, or you could be really far along. You will learn all the skills that you need. So it really doesn't matter what skill set it is. But what matters is, are you dedicated? Are you committed? And will you put focus to this? So if the answer is no to that, then this is not for you. If the answer is yes to that you really want to grow as an artist and you're willing to put the time, commitment, and dedication to it, then the Mastery Program is for you. If you want to see your artwork touch people's lives and affect them deeply and be able to sell your art all over the world, the Mastery Program is for you. If you are looking for a community of artists that believe in you and that they are really going for it and they believe in themselves, the Mastery Program is for you. If you are looking for something that will take you step by step through this whole process, then the Mastery Program is for you. I would say the Mastery Program is not for you and you aren't ready if you aren't willing to put the time in, you aren't really willing to commit, or you are not teachable. If you've arrived and you have everything that you need and you don't really feel like you need to grow in anything, the Mastery Program is not for you. So hopefully that helps you kind of determine. We have, Tanner, don't we have like a link or something to?
Yeah, I'm putting a link in the chat, and there's a few links in the chat here and there, and there's a link in the description as well.
Yeah, and so that link, doesn't it take them through a questionnaire?
Yes.
Yeah, so there's a little short questionnaire on this link that we're putting in there. So if the Mastery Program is interesting to you and you want to learn more about it, click on that link. There's a few questions, not many, to go through that will help you understand if you are ready. That goes more into depth than what I just said. And then there's an opportunity to sign up for a call where you can speak with a student advisor. You can get all your questions answered. There's lots of information. So if this is at all interesting to you and you feel like the Mastery Program might be for you, then I recommend that you click that link and check it out. Now, do we have any questions? Has anybody been asking any questions? If you have any questions about anything right now, this is a great time to ask me, and Tanner will tell me what the questions are.
There's no questions at all. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Some people are wondering if you could kind of talk about what the difference between style and voice is. Yeah,
that is a good question. So I think your voice is really pertaining to what do you want to say and why do you want to say it and how do you want to say it. Whereas your style is, what does that all look like? So I kind of use the words interchangeably, but the voice is what is sort of behind the style. It's that thing that's speaking through the style. Your style, meaning your aesthetic, so that's the picture of all those self-discovery things, plus your taste, plus your process, what kind of materials you're going to use, how do you lay down the paint. All of those are visual. Everything there that we're talking about is visual, and that equals your style. So your style is the visual manifestation of your voice. So I don't think voice is something that's visual. It's sort of almost like the spirit behind your style, or what is speaking through your style.
Yeah, and someone said they see a unique style in their work, but they're seeing a few different styles in their work. Is it normal to have more than one style, or should they cap it off at like 4 or 5, or what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that probably the 4 or 5 styles that maybe you're painting in, there's a cohesive way within that. And that's what you probably need to work at and need to discover. If you are kind of all over the place, a lot of artists think they're all over the place and they're really not. And I can look at their work and go, yeah, I see your style, it's right there. And just because they paint landscapes, but animals and also portraits and abstracts, they think it's all over the place. But as long as it's cohesive within that, your aesthetic is coming through and it's done in the same process, then it's a cohesive style. So I don't know without seeing it, if you are painting in 4 or 5 distinct styles, but if that is the case, then I would think about process. Is your process different in all of those things? What kind of commonalities do you see? Do you see color, or does the color change all the time? The patterns, the forms, the textures, all those things that are in there, is there a cohesiveness? So back in the beginning, I talked about why do you want to find your style. So you can review that as to why you don't want to bounce around and you do want to develop a style.
Yeah, someone was wondering if you can talk about how their work in the mastery program is evaluated and how they would know if they've achieved a certain level of competence. Yeah,
so like I said, there's group coaching. So there's live Zoom calls that you can attend, and there's critiques, especially when you get into portfolio. They have weekly critiques. So that's when the coaches will look at and all the coaches have gone through the mastery program and they're professional artists. So these are people that really know their stuff. And they will look at your work and tell you what you need to improve, where you stand. And then also in group coaching, when you're doing the assignments, you'll get lots and lots of feedback about what it is you produced and how you can improve it, what you need to work on. And so a lot of that is based on you. If you're really hungry for that and you want a lot of that, then you would post your artwork and you would say, hey, I really want feedback on this piece so that on my next one I can do better. What do I need to change? And you will have several coaches answering you and telling you exactly what you need to do. Some people are reluctant for that feedback and they don't post their work. So we can't make you post your work. That is your decision. But if you post your work and you attend the Zoom calls to get that feedback, then you will get it.
Yeah. And someone also was wondering if they can get personal mentoring after they've already signed up for the program.
Yeah. So we also offer personal mentoring. So group coaching is included. Personal mentoring is extra. It costs $200 a month. So with the personal mentoring, you are either assigned or you get to choose a personal mentor, and you can get feedback on your artwork through, we use Telegram as the chat for that. So you can message your mentor as many times as you want, and they will give you feedback on your artwork, and then you have a call with them where you'll meet face to face in Zoom and go through whatever it is you want to talk about and get feedback on. So you can get a personal mentor. Now, it is limited, meaning we only have so many mentors and so many spots. So we try to keep lots of spots open so that we don't ever run out of spots. But like I said, it is a little bit limited. So as long as there is a spot, then you can get a personal mentor throughout the process, even after you've signed up.
Yeah. Someone's wondering if you ever had a moment where you saw a sudden shift in your style, like unexpectedly, and if so, what sparked it? Yeah.
I haven't seen a sudden dramatic shift. It's sort of happened over time, but I have definitely seen a shift. And usually it comes after some getting stuck. So I mentioned that I haven't really been stuck in about 8 years, but 8 years ago my style changed, and it happened when I hit a wall. So I hit a creative block, and I was super frustrated. It didn't last very long, just a couple weeks, but I was super frustrated. But because I kind of know how that goes, I pushed through it, and on the other side of that was a style change. It wasn't a dramatic style change. Probably to anybody else, they're like, oh yeah, that's your work. But to me, it was a style change. So I don't know, sometimes when you're new and you haven't really found your style yet, and you get exposed to new skills, and so you're not limited anymore in what it is you create, you have a style change because you sort of found your style, or you got closer to your style. So I think there's lots of things that can happen, but for me, I don't remember having like suddenly, without any rhyme or reason, a dramatic style shift. It always was sort of a small style shift, and it was after sort of a process of struggle.
Someone's wondering if you could be their mentor in the program.
Yeah, I only have like one spot right now to mentor a student. So I'm pretty much full except for one spot, but I do have a couple students graduating soon, and so I will have more spots open soon. But yes, I do mentor students, and it's one of the options.
Yeah. Someone asked this question when you're talking about elevating your taste. They're wondering, does better taste always mean more expensive things? What do you do if you don't have enough money for that?
Well, you don't have to have money to have higher taste. It's looking at what do people, and you know, there's people that have a lot of money and they have really bad taste. I mean, I see it all the time. So just because you have money doesn't mean you have bad taste, good taste, and just because you don't have money doesn't mean you have bad taste. Typically, though, more expensive things required more intentionality to it. So if you think back to the bouquets of flowers, one costs $19.99 at, you know, Safeway, and one probably cost $150 or $250, and maybe it was $400, I don't know. And it was designed by an artist, florist, that put a lot of intentionality into it. And they thought about the vase, they thought about the colors, they thought about the scale. There was a lot of intentionality that went to it. So because of that artistry, because of that intention and rarity, it required somebody with skill to do it versus, you know, looking at a diagram and going, okay, 3 of those, 5 of these, and 2 of these, and some baby's breath, right? That the typical florist at Safeway does. That's why it cost more. So higher priced things were designed by an artisan, and there's a reason they cost more in most cases. So that's why we're saying, look at what wealthy people are buying, look at where wealthy people live, look at where wealthy people shop, look at the things that are at that high design level and find the patterns. What are the forms? How are the lines? What are the materials? Look at it, feast your eyes on it, get it in your brain files, and it will automatically take your aesthetic that's in there and elevate it to a higher level. So you don't have to have money to elevate your taste. You just have to look at it.
Yeah, and someone was, oh, I just lost it. I'm so sorry. Oh, yeah. Oh, some people are wondering about the cost of the mastery program and if there's payment plans for it.
Yeah, we have 3 different payment options. So if on a 2-year payment plan, it costs $200 a month or $4,800. On a 1-year payment plan, it costs, help me out, Tanner, $330, I think. And it's a 12-month payment plan, and it's 36. I should know this, right? 3,600 or something like that. And then, no, that's if you pay in full.
Yes.
So 330 times 12 is whatever that is. And then the least expensive option is paid in full, which is 3,600. So it goes from 3,600 to 4,800. So 4,800 is the 200 a month plan for 2 years. Then there's a 12-month plan. Then there's a paid in full.
The 12-month plan is $350 a month.
$350. Okay. So $350 for 12 months or paid in full, $3,600.
Yes.
And that includes group coaching. So it's really such a fantastic deal for what you get. Almost everybody that's gone through it, I don't know if there's anybody watching right now that's in the mastery program, and they can tell you what they think, but almost everybody that takes the mastery program absolutely believes without a shadow of doubt that it is a tremendous value for what you pay. And most people say it's life-changing. As you can imagine, being able to do what you love most and that you're most passionate about, and the thing that you've been dreaming about, you've been wanting to do this for all these years, and then to put the commitment, to put the dedication and the focus and put the time in to develop it, and give yourself permission to pursue your dream and spend that money on yourself. That is life-changing in itself. And if you do that, you will serve the world. It might seem selfish, especially if you're in a family, you're like, oh, can I really spend $3,600 on myself to become an artist? Can I really do that? Do I have permission to do that? Just think about being able to fully commit to your dream, something you've been wanting to do your whole life, and then what will be the outcome of that? All those paintings you will create, the legacy that you will create as an artist, that your children will watch you go after your dreams. They will see evidence of it in seeing your artwork develop, and then seeing the people in tears because your artwork meant so much to them, and it's now on their wall, and they cherish it every day of their life. And it's affected their life. It's changed their life. I mean, of course you have to do that. Of course you have to, spend that money on yourself, because really you're serving others with it. You are creating a legacy, and you are a living example to your children that their dreams are important. Their dreams are worth achieving and dedicating themselves to. So I get really passionate about this stuff because I just believe in it so much. And I've seen so many people's lives changed through this program. And so like I said, if this is really resonating with you, I highly recommend that you click the link and spend the afternoon exploring the mastery program, and sign up for a call with one of our student advisors. So it's been really, really great. Is that any more questions? Or yeah. Okay, so it's really been great spending this time with you and talking about one of my favorite subjects, and I will see you in the next workshop.